I don't even really want to give this secret away because I feel like it's been working so well for me. Hello friends, this is Kaya and welcome back to my channel. So today I am not in my normal setup, but that's really just because I wanted to get this video filmed and done and to you guys as soon as I possibly could, and I was not about to waste time setting up lights in my bedroom. So as you know by the title, I am here to talk about how I made 10K with less than 10K followers. And I was actually really on the fence about making this video because I know that talking about money, income, it's a very touchy subject and a lot of people just think it's rude in general. But I think talking about money is actually really important. As we've seen time and time again, not talking about salary or how much you're getting paid in any industry really furthers the wage gap, and that's the gender wage gap, that's a racial wage gap. Not talking about it means people don't know that they're being shortchanged. So a little bit more context about me as a content creator before we get started. I have been blogging for about 5 years, and throughout that period I have had a Twitter account, an Instagram account, and a Pinterest account that I have been growing alongside my blog underneath the same brand, Comfy Girl Curls. As of making this video, I have about 7,800 followers on Instagram, and at the start of this year, I think I was at about 6,000-ish. Something just to keep in mind, there are people out there at my same level of followers on Instagram and engagement and everything that are making way more than I am, and there are also people at the same level that are making absolutely nothing. And I know that because I get a lot of people in my DMs that are saying, how are you getting all these brand deals? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So this video is really targeted towards those people who have been getting nothing or really haven't hit 10K in a year yet. Okay, so enough chit chat. Let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about 5 things that help me make $10,000 with less than 10,000 followers. I say less than 10K followers because people really get hung up on that 10K mark on Instagram. It's when you get the swipe up feature, you get that K in your description or your bio, you feel really real and established. And I think people always think, oh, when I hit that point, I'll make money. When I hit that point, I'm gonna be a real influencer or a real content creator. But that's not the case. People are making money with 5,000 followers, 2,000 followers, 1,000 followers. It is 1,000% possible. Okay, so reason number 1. This reason is actually pretty specific and it's not something you can recreate. Quite simply, Black Lives Matter became a talking point. June 2020, we saw it everywhere. Brands were stepping up, making declarations that they were going to be promoting diversity. We saw black squares were popping up everywhere. Brands started being hyper aware of what type of influencers they were reaching out to. And the reality is, I'm a Black blogger, I'm a Black creator, and so I was getting hit up by a lot of brands that were just looking to fill their diversity quota. And as a creator, I felt really conflicted. I felt like, do you really like my content? Are you just using me for like a checkbox? I don't know. I still feel conflicted. But at the end of the day, I had a lot of great supportive people in my life that were just saying, hey, you know what? If they're reaching out to you and they're willing to pay, just go for it. And I do want to say I was actually getting brand deals this year prior to June, but I really think that amplified the amount of attention I was getting from brands this year. And I do want to pause and acknowledge a little bit of privilege here because I am light-skinned, and I do think that some brands reached out to me because they felt like they were tapping into diversity without being too diverse. I do know that there are other amazing, super talented Black creators that weren't getting reached out to as much during that time. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge that because I find it really funny when there's these creators that make these videos on YouTube like, how I made $5 million. And it's like, yeah, you are a skinny, blonde, beautiful woman. You fit the traditional beauty standard. Like, I'm not denying the hard work you put in, but there's There's some other factors there. Anyways, I digress. I just wanted to get that out of the way, but now on to 4 much more controllable ways you can make $10,000 with less than 10,000 followers. So, number 2, get serious. So a huge change this year for me was getting serious about blogging, about content creation. I really started approaching it as a business. I set time aside to build a media kit, set my rates, to build out income and expense spreadsheets. I talked to our accountant who does our taxes every year. I went into this year saying, I am going to make money. I'm going to do everything I need to do to position myself as a business person. And you can call that manifesting or putting it out into the universe or whatever you would like. But I think there's really some truth to changing your mindset about something. Going into this year, I knew that I didn't want to just be a hobby creator anymore. So number 3, I began pursuing opportunities. So like I said, I changed my mindset and I knew that I couldn't really wait for people to come to me. So I decided that I needed to start pursuing opportunities. I needed to start pitching brands. I started doing a ton of research on how to pitch brands, how to find their PR contacts, how to formulate the proper email. There's an amazing post by Naturally Madisen, which I'll link in the description. She has basic templates on how to pitch brands, and I bookmarked that and I reread it again and again and again. I used those templates and I pitched some brands with success. If there's a brand that you really want to collaborate with, do not be afraid to pitch them. Make sure you are very clear in the value you are adding to the brand. Let them know what your reach is. Let them know what your audience is looking for and give them an idea of what type of content you are wanting to create for them. And that will really set you apart from other people who are in their inboxes just looking for free stuff. Number 4. Another reason why I started making money this year. I stopped settling, and that was absolutely huge. And honestly, I am still learning to know my worth and hold up my own in negotiations with brands. But in previous years, when a brand would reach out to me and say, we love your content, can we send you some gifted products in exchange for a post? I used to just be so honored that they would want to send me products that it was an automatic yes. But this year it really hit me that brands are sending you products, gifted products, basically for free advertising. They are hoping or asking that you post it on your socials so that they can tap into your audience and get their products in front of your followers. And the reality is it takes time to create content. It takes gear to create content. And it has also taken time to build an engaged following to whatever point you have it at, even if that's 1,000 followers. So this year, what I started doing, whenever a brand would reach out to me with an offer for gifted products, I would say something along the lines of, hey, thank you so much for reaching out to me. Your products look incredible. I would love the opportunity to partner. Would you happen to have a budget for content creation? I'm happy to send over my rate card if you are interested. And that alone has turned around so many opportunities with brands, from a gifted one to a paid one. There's always going to be brands that say, no, I don't have a budget, you still want to do this anyways. And from there, that's really up to you to decide. But I think it's really important to recognize that in posting a brand's products, they are getting free advertising off your labor. So know your worth, ask them if they have a budget, send over your rate cards, and see where it goes from there. Last one, and I think this one is huge. So I talked about how pitching brands is really important. But a massive game changer for me was when I started attracting brands. The first half of this year, I really focused on pitching, but the last half of this year, I haven't pitched once, and I have been so busy with brand collaborations. So how can you attract brands to you? Number 1, I started diversifying my feed. Before this year, my feed, if you scroll back far enough, it was just a lot of selfies. A lot of kind of the same rotating angles, a lot of natural hair looks, and that was kind of it. So I did get a few natural hair companies reaching out to me, but even then, not that much. My page didn't really look like a content creator's page. I wasn't doing anything cool. I basically was just taking selfies. That was it. So when I say I diversified my feed, I did it in a couple different ways. I started including more body shots, some product shots. I started including video. I wanted to make sure that when you're scrolling through my feed, you weren't seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And in diversifying my feed in that way, my Instagram feed then became a type of lookbook for brands. Brands were able to see my full potential of the different types of content I could create. They weren't coming to my page and saying, oh, okay, this girl's really good at selfies. Okay, cool, next. In addition to adding more variety into the type of posts I was sharing on Instagram, I also invested the time into choosing a preset that I felt really represented my brand. If you're not familiar with presets, they are a preset configuration of photo editing settings, so change in saturation, in hue, the shadows, a bunch of different things that essentially give your photos a particular vibe. And then you can apply that preset to all your photos in your feed to give your page a really consistent look. So this was my page prior to choosing a consistent aesthetic, and this is it now. Ever since making this change, I felt like my Instagram feed was a lot more intentional, and I really did see an increase in brands reaching out to me because I feel like they come to my Instagram page and they look at it and they say, oh, this girl is intentional, she knows what her aesthetic is, and she knows what her personal brand is. And the last thing I did that helped me attract brands is change up my hashtag strategy. And I don't even really want to give this secret away because I feel like it's been working so well for me. But I really do want all of us to succeed. So, yes, it's really important to include hashtags in your posts that will help you reach a wider audience and reach your target audience. But I really started to get some high-paying brand deals when I started using hashtags that I knew brands were looking for. And these hashtags aren't really going to help you with reach. These aren't hashtags that your target audience is really going to be using, so you really do want to use them in moderation, but you do want to include them in your strategy. So I started using hashtags like Canadian blogger, Vancouver blogger, Black blogger, Black lifestyle blogger, hashtags that I figured brands might be using to search for new content creators to work with. So what I really recommend doing is taking different characteristic words that are relevant to you and pairing them up with different creators. So play around with hashtag beauty blogger, hashtag beauty content creator, hashtag Canadian lifestyle blogger. Do some research to see how competitive these are and if it's something that you think brands are following. And then just some final tips of advice for today. Really connect with other people in the industry, in the social media space that you occupy. Take the time to uplift people who want to be at the level you're at, and then seek advice from the people who are where you want to be. Obviously, don't pester mega influencers that you don't know, but take the time to genuinely foster relationships and friendships with people, and don't be afraid to ask those people questions. So if you appreciated this video and would like to hear more from me going forward, please like, thumbs up, subscribe, please subscribe. You know what I'm trying to say. Turn on the little notification bell, you know the works. And if you just can't wait for the next video, make sure you go find me on my blog, comfygirlwithcurls.com, or over on Instagram and Twitter, where I share a little bit more of my day-to-day life. Both of those handles are at comfygirlcurls. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.